Hello, I'm Miss Jackie, and this is Word for Brothers, where we lift up the black man where he belongs, primarily as head of household. Jesus led Peter, James, and John up a high mountain. Now, these were fishermen more used to sand between their toes than rocks in their shoes. The word doesn't say if Jesus had asked them, but he had already piqued the boldness of their spirits. Funny that it was his brother Andrew who brought Peter to Jesus. Peter wasn't even looking for a church. Peter had walked down many a church aisle before, but had no patience once he figured out they were on the empire payroll preachers. But once Peter sensed Jesus was the real deal, he was all in. Only Peter asked Jesus to get out of a boat during a violent storm. Though Peter didn't walk on the water long, at least he got out of the boat. He's the only disciple that can put that on his resume. Jesus already knew James and John would ask for the best seats in his Father's house. They got that "you have not 'cause you ask not" straight up, no chaser boldness from their mama. Presumptuous, yes, yet they didn't whine about it behind Jesus' back, but asked him to his face. As Peter, James, and John climbed, they were basically looking at Jesus' backside, but they trusted he knew and was the way. Once they got to the place, by the Spirit, they saw Moses and Elijah, not at all like they were pictured in their Sunday school lessons. But most of all, they saw Jesus as they had never seen and afterwards never would. And to top it all off, it was the voice of the Father, a voice like no other. They were awestruck, the glory of the voice and Jesus. This was just too much. And they fell out. They would have stayed on the ground had not Jesus touched them and said, "Get up. Don't be afraid." Sure, Peter had anger issues, and even with Jesus, a takeover spirit. James and John were quick to tell anybody, especially if they weren't giving Jesus his props, to go to hell. A long way from Capernaum, totally out of their comfort zone. They climbed without complaining. They had to think different, dress different, act different for a higher altitude. Again, the word says Jesus took them, sensing in their spirits a hunger, a curiosity of what's beyond their horizon. And because these men said yes to a risk, which is another word for faith, with Jesus as their guide, Peter, James, and John saw what no one else has sensed, a glimpse of Jesus' true glory. And let us uplift and praise the increased boldness in our men. They know the time calls for it. They also know that with faith in him, to go where they have never been before, to be totally out of their element, they will eventually find themselves at home, where they belong, which is at the top, expressing all God has made them to be. See you next time.